Got a list? Time to put it in order.
Fred Dwumfor's house. Top five meals that I have ever had.
This is Ranked.
To be honest, their list was really biased.
Brought to you by Carter Volkswagen. Every morning at 9:45 on the Mike Salk Show.
That top 10 list, I'm not buying that.
Ranked.
Yeah, we try to rank things at 9:45, and even more fun when Matt Hasselbeck is with us, as he is today, of course, Wednesdays. With Matt. All right, Matt, it was... You brought this up. I want to be very clear. I did not bring this up. 18. Everyone's going to think I'm just like needling you because that's what I would do to Brock, but I'm not. I didn't bring this up. I didn't even know. 18 years ago today, is that what you said?
18 years ago yesterday was we want the ball. We want to score. Seahawks at Packers 2003 season. We go to overtime. On our second possession, not our first possession, on our second possession, I throw a pick six to Al Harris, loses the game. And good learning lesson. I don't regret a dang thing about the coin toss, not even for a second. But yeah, that was the anniversary. So with that, and we were struggling coming up with a ranked. I said, well, the Seahawks aren't going to the playoffs. Let's do top wild card games that I was a part of, because wild card football is a great weekend, and it's going to be a great weekend again this year. So that was the idea. So
wild card games that you played in ranked.
Yeah, listen, that 03 Al Harris game was an awesome game. Like, I love watching that game. It's a shame we didn't win that game, because we would have stopped the Eagles the next week on 4th and 26. I'm very confident in that. So but I don't regret it. It was a great game. But number 5, I'm going to go to the very next year, because I learned, and we learned something from that 03 game. And that very next year, we're playing at home against the St. Louis Rams. And again, an amazing game, great little shootout, awesome players on both sides of the team. We ended up losing by a touchdown, 27-20. I threw a pass, a little too much heat to Bobby Ingram in the front of the end zone, and we didn't get it done. I end the game like pounding my fists in the turf. But I believe it was that loss in 03 and that loss in 04 that really propelled me and then propelled us to what was to come in 05, which never would have happened without those losses. And I think even the way we lost.
Is that sort of that idea of a team has to learn how to win?
You know, for me, it was a lot of different things, but we were so close we could taste it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, we lost. Oh, well, we lost. No, we were right there, overtime, against a team that everyone said was way better than us. Or the next year, 7-point loss, dropped the ball in the end zone against the greatest show on turf. Like, we're every bit as good as these guys. And that was the message from Mike Holmgren. I see it. You guys are good enough. You don't believe it. I need you to start believing it. I need you to start talking that way, acting that way, working that way, and it'll happen. So, I don't know. I appreciate those losses for what they were to help us get where we were trying to go.
I think the same was probably true in 2012 for the Seahawks and the lost Russell's rookie year to the Falcons. I think that probably had a similar result. All right, number 5. Let's go to number 4.
Okay, number 4, I'm going back to my rookie year. This was the Green Bay Packers at the San Francisco 49ers. Mike Holmgren's last game coaching as a Packer. This is the game that sent him to Seattle. Steve Young drops back, almost falls down, hits T.O. in the middle of the field. We had the perfect coverage on, should have been covered, but because Steve Young kind of stumbled and almost falls to the ground, our defense settles their feet a little bit. T.O. catches the ball. He had like 5 drops that game, didn't drop this one. And in the locker room after the game in San Fran, everyone's crying. The coaches are crying. I'm like, I'm a rookie. Hey, you guys went to the last 2 Super Bowls. We lost in the playoffs. We'll be back next year. Everyone in the locker room except me knew that Mike Holmgren was probably going to the Seattle Seahawks to be their next head coach and GM. And that was it. Had we won that game, I don't know if Mike Holmgren ever shows up in Seattle. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But that was an incredible game as well. Instant classic.
I wonder what happens, too. If he doesn't go to Seattle and they keep him in Green Bay and he and Favre stay together, what happens to Matt Hasselbeck? Does anyone else ever figure out what you have in you?
Like I said earlier with Tyler Huntley, trade bait. When you don't need your backup quarterback and you have other needs, you trade your backups. That's why it's good to invest in the position, in my opinion. But
all right, number 3.
Number 3, I'm going to choose Dallas at Seattle, 2006 season. That was a 21-20 game. That's the game that Tony Romo blew the snap as the holder. Kind of changed the NFL, I think, in a way, because quarterbacks were no longer the holders very often after that. You know, they gave that job to somebody else, to be usually the punter. But that was an incredible game as well. I mean, again, good players on both sides of the ball. I'm just thinking of like how that game could have gone. It's my belief, though, that even if they would have made that field goal, Bill Parcells would have squib kicked it. We would have been in position to get down into field goal range. We had a great field goal operation that year. I think we still win that game one way or the other. But coming out of that backed up, Sean Alexander put a move on Roy Williams, number 31, their safety, that sealed the game for us. So that was a fun game.
It's still just, I don't know, the whole, like, the image of it happening. We just played the sound of it the other day. Do we have it? Just because it was John Madden who was on the call, right? I think we have this. Here you go.
Romo holds. 19-yard field goal attempt. Oh, it is fumbled by Romo, and then Romo's going to run to the end zone, and he's going to get tackled by Jordan Babineau. Amazing.
Unbelievable.
How crazy is this?
There is nothing automatic in football.
Pretty true.
That was awesome.
Hard to argue with John Madden there. All right, let's get to, what are you, number 2?
Big play Babs on the backside, running them down. Great job. Number 2, okay, I don't know if you remember this game. Kansas City Chiefs at Indianapolis Colts. I'm on the Colts at the time, 45-44. It was the second largest comeback in NFL history. I'm on the sidelines. We're getting smoked. We're just thinking, how do we get out of here without being embarrassed? And there's a lot of things I could say about this game, okay? But at one point, we're in no huddle. And I notice on their sideline that they're just hand signaling everything. They're just because we're in such a fast tempo. So I'm like, wait a second. We have 2 guys on our special teams that used to play for the Kansas City Chiefs and for this defensive coordinator. I go grab them, a linebacker and a DB. I'm like, hey, stand here next to me and tell me what these signals are. See if they haven't changed them. And they start telling me they didn't change any of their signals. So they would tell me what the signal was, and I start screaming out into the field, cover two, quarters, you got man, you got blitz, like whatever it was. We're just screaming out their signals out loud because I got like 2 guys that used to play for them. And I think it helped our comeback. So that was an epic moment. Every time I see that replay on like NFL films, I'm like, wow.
That doesn't even count as sign stealing. They were just giving it to you.
I mean, if you think these old veteran coaches in the NFL change their signals every year, there's no chance. They haven't changed in 20 years.
You're like the turf. All right, number 1, greatest. I mean, there's got to be, right? Number 1.
I mean, I'm definitely biased here. 41-36, the Beastquake game.
Right.
No one gave us a chance. We were 7-9. You shouldn't get to host a playoff game. We got to go all the way out there to southern Alaska. The disrespect was so real. Our crowd brought it. Our team brought it and shocked the world. The Beastquake, with seismic activity, that was a wild card game for the ages, and ended up being my last home game ever as a Seattle Seahawks. So very special to me.